It's time again for a legal talk right here on eRadio, Wednesday mornings at 10 o'clock with Hahn and Hahn attorneys. Today joined by Associate Attorney Merilynn Plessis, and we're talking about something very interesting, electricity. When I say electricity, I'm not referring to load shedding. However, it could feel like load shedding because you paid your utility account, or you disputed your utility account, and then they disconnected your electricity. What now? Now you've got your own load shedding. Merilynn, hello, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you, Ian. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. So can you give us a bit of a background of where this comes into play, where you disputed your utility account and then they disconnected your electricity?
Sure, Ian. So, in the current heat of the electricity shortage that we are facing, we've seen that a lot of municipalities have become under the strain to kind of enforce their credit control procedures. We've seen in provinces such as Gauteng, Pretoria and Johannesburg that when I say the council, I'm referring to the municipalities. They've started aggressively pursuing disconnection campaigns. I mean, it doesn't take you a lot. You can go and look on Google and you see this university's electricity is disconnected. You know, we've had the trains disconnected, etc. It seems that they're mainly targeting the medium to large companies and businesses more than consumers. So I think this discussion will be primarily focused on companies and businesses. So what happens is, the issues we face on a daily basis is where the council disconnects an electricity dispute despite having a dispute pending. So to stop at this stage, it should be noted that most of all our clients' queries and issues relate to the municipality's dysfunctional apparatus or the service levels that they install. So let's say, for example, they install a meter and this meter has to read your consumption, and it gets very technical. You know, there's some things like transformers that flow the current, and it can actually, the effect, let's say, of a defective apparatus is that it can either double your consumption or it can divide your consumption in half. But it does not accurately reflect the true status of your consumption. So what then happens is, on their side, they have showing that you are in the millions of rands. However, you've been paying, let's say 40 or let's keep it refined to 5,000 Rand a month for 2 years, and all of a sudden you have an electricity bill of R1 million.
Oh my gosh.
So what then happens is, obviously the companies lodge a dispute with the municipality. We've seen that 99% of the times, even if there's a dispute pending, they come and they disconnect the electricity. So now it becomes a hassle, because now, to make things worse, the councils lose track of the history of an account. So when you follow up on the dispute, you don't get to the person who knows the account history and who can make a decision. And then this account gets handed over to attorneys. Attorneys demand payment, full and final, but they're not authorized to make a decision on the account. So the result of this is a client's proverbial hands, so to say, is tied. And I mean, obviously, because of the lack of communication within the council, the dispute is never resolved. So even if there is a valid dispute, the council is not able to resolve it and ultimately disconnects power, because on the face of the account, there's a lot of money outstanding.
Yeah, and they think that they've got the right to come and disconnect you. Do they actually come to your premises to disconnect the electricity?
They do. We've seen now in Pretoria and Johannesburg where they're accompanied by police officers.
Oh my
So they'll
word.
come in raids. Yes, They come now in raids, and they come accompanied with the police officers, and they just disconnect. And the issue with this is, the issue is that you have certain rights. They cannot just disconnect your electricity, and that's the problem. But they do, because they can't really see or not. Because there's 100 people working with the account, nobody really knows what to do or wants to take the decision.
Sure, Merilynn, this is very concerning. I was going to ask you now, can't we stop them when they come and disconnect the electricity? But now you said they're accompanied by police officers, so they'll probably tase you or taser you or something. So that's probably not a good idea. But the very important question now is, because, we get into situations like this and we don't know what our rights are. We need to know what our rights are. So what are my rights when I have lodged a dispute with the council?
Okay, so municipalities are regulated by an act, and the act that regulates them is called the Municipal Systems Act. This act allows them to enforce and adopt credit control and debt collection policies, but these credit control policies and strategies that they adopt must conform to the Promotion of Administration of Justice Act. So this act applies to all authority or executive or legislative decisions, functions, and actions. And what this act refers to and obliges the municipality is that for that act to be a procedurally fair administrative action, the municipality is entitled to give adequate notice of the disconnection and a reasonable opportunity for that person to make representations. Many times they don't. We have seen that municipalities would, for example, would send you a disconnection or a notice that your account is in arrears on the one day, and then the next day they come and disconnect your electricity. So on that basis, if they have not provided you an opportunity to actually give or object or give your reasons as to why this should not happen, it can be found as an illegal action of the municipality.
I'm just wondering, let's say they stop at your premises now, and here they come with the police, and I then I run to the door and I lock the door and I say, no, I know you are you not coming in? Am I now a criminal? Is it wrong? Can I do that?
Well, your first issue with what you're saying to me is that your meters are not installed in your house. It's on your property on the outside.
So now I've locked myself in for no reason.
You locked yourself in, and you'll only so that's only going to frustrate yourself.
Yeah, okay,
I think actually clearing the path for them to disconnect. Exactly. But no, there's. Yeah. So let's say the box of supply is always outside of your premises, and then obviously the police are there because they are allowed to, in certain compelling circumstances, to enter into your property. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why they are accompanied with the police, to make sure that they have access to those boxes. Because, many of them close the boxes and lock up the boxes. Yeah.
I think it can get quite dangerous because, if you go to the wrong place and there's somebody in a really bad mood, you could get a serious altercation going there.
Yes,
I know that
the
Eskom, I feel sorry for the actual Eskom workers who work in places like Soweto and who have to go and disconnect the illegal connections. They sometimes pay with their lives. It is incredibly dangerous, more dangerous than the electricity itself. But anyway, yeah. No, carry on.
No, sorry. What I'm trying to say is, on the flip side of the matter is, to come and disconnect a commercial property's electricity, it actually means that you are robbing the economy, because you are you're cutting the doors and closing the doors of a business.
Yeah,
I mean, some
exactly.
businesses have far-reaching implications of disconnecting electricity for even just an hour. And now the problem is, when they disconnect the property, it takes them maybe a week only to come out and resolve it and come and connect connect the electricity again.
Yo, Merilynn, that's concerning. And then, I mean, living in South Africa, then you still have to deal with the load shedding in between as well. Later on, you don't know if it's the municipality that switched you off, or is it load shedding, or did the substation blow up on the corner of the street?
True.
You just can't win.
True.
Okay, no, but it's very serious. It's very serious. Merilynn, moving on, what are my obligations?
Okay, so even though you've lodged a dispute, it does not mean that you cannot stop paying your account. So usually what we advise clients is that you still make payment of your consumption that you've known your consumption to be. So let's say you get an account and your account is R1 million, but for the last 6 months you've been paying R5,000. And we usually advise the clients to remain paying your monthly consumption, but not pay the disputed amount. Very important. Yes.
Because I mean, if you start paying that, it kind of means that you're going along with it. You're saying, okay, no, it's fine. I accept that
you're
used
admitting.
it. Exactly.
Yes, and it kind of muddies the water because
right.
Many of the municipalities' account systems are already not clear.
Yeah.
And that's one of the issues, is because they have account issues. And I mean, to make payment of a disputed amount, yes, you are inadvertently admitting liability.
So, Merilynn, what happens if I have complied with my rights, but the council has still disconnected my supply?
Okay, so I would say this is the crux, and this is the BAM of the discussion. But so municipalities, anybody, in order to supply electricity to anyone in South Africa, there are certain conditions. They have to apply for a license. It's regulated under the National Electricity Regulation Act. And in accordance with this act, a person who supplies electricity has to first apply for a license to be able to distribute electricity. And one of the licensing conditions is that certain of your apparatus and your service levels must conform to certain standards. So we have SANS in South Africa, South African National Standards, and SABs. And one of these standards compel the certain quality of your apparatus. So what happens is that they don't install the correct apparatus, or it's faulty, or they don't have stock, etc. This means that they're in breach of the conditions of their license to supply electricity. Many of the bylaws, and that's where you would go and check in the municipality, is what does a bylaw say when I have a dispute? Many of the bylaws will say that you first need to approach the regulator, who is NERSA, it's the National Energy Regulator of South Africa. So what we would do in those situations, we would refer the dispute to NERSA. NERSA will then have to mediate between the council and the client. And if it's found that the council is in breach of their license may be taken away from them, which means they are not allowed, or not legally allowed, to supply electricity to anyone. So your bargaining power comes from threatening with, taking on the conditions of license. These situations are obviously only defined, refined, and circumscribed in instances where the apparatus are faulty. In other instances where, let's say, they have not given adequate notice, they have not given effect to your rights, another remedy to consider is an interdict. So you approach court and you ask the court to interdict and to order the municipality to refrain from disconnecting electricity and then compelling them to restore it again, pending the resolution of the dispute. So, very interestingly enough, about 2 weeks ago, we had a client that the electricity has been cut every 4 months and paying much, much high legal fees every single 4 months to try and get the right person to connect the electricity. And despite this, nothing happened. So what we did is we brought an application to court, urgent. This can be found on our LinkedIn page. And we've actually asked the court to interdict them from disconnecting the property ever again and enforce any of their credit procedures until the resolution has been resolved. Interestingly, it's a mouthful, but interestingly, we've managed to cite the municipal manager in his personal capacity.
Yeah.
So what this means is the frustration with our court procedures are, even if you do have an order in your pocket, the municipalities, like I said, it's a very big struggle to get hold of the right person that makes the decisions. So you've got an order, but to enforce the order, you need to serve it on the right person, which 90% of the time you can't get a hold of, or you don't know who it is.
That's it.
Okay. So now you've got an order in the pocket and you've spent a lot of fees on legal fees, but your electricity is still disconnected. So what this would mean is then you'd have to approach the court again for an application, a painful application, to have the court declare the municipality to be in contempt of court. That then you have an order where you can go and arrest an official of the municipality because they haven't complied.
Jeez.
So yes, it sounds very nice, but when you have your power disconnected, you cannot wait a month to bring 2 applications to court. So what we've done is we've managed to, and it's a big win for us, is to cite the municipal manager in his personal capacity, compelling him to make sure that the order is complied with. Otherwise, he is in default in his personal capacity.
Yeah.
After we've had this order granted, I think it was 40 minutes after the order was granted and the electricity was restored.
Oh, thank goodness. And hopefully that's the end of it now.
Yes, so part of the court order, and this is the biggest problem that we face, is the municipal systems. There's some glitches with their systems. So they have what you call a dunning lock. So when you've lodged a dispute, internally they place a dunning lock on your account which says don't enforce credit control, don't disconnect, here's a dispute. But the status on the account only lasts for a certain period, let's say 3 months, and it automatically cancels itself. So after 3 months, whoever is working on the account does not see that there is a pending dispute. They just see that there's electricity outstanding, there's a high amount outstanding. Yeah. And then they send their people. So the problem with that is that every 4 months, you don't have your dispute resolved, but they switch off electricity. These orders say to them they are never allowed to disconnect the electricity, and the municipal manager is compelled to make sure that the whole municipality gives effect to this order. So yes, effectively they won't be able to disconnect your electricity again.
That sounds like a really good solution, Merilynn. I'll have one of those. It sounds
Yes,
like
yeah.
it really
No,
sounds
it was
like
a
the
big
best way
one.
out. Well done. Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
fantastic.
Thank you.
And Merilynn, just our last question for today. What if council or the municipality does not provide me with electricity, but another body does, another supplier?
Okay, so many times you find that you are not serviced by the municipality. There's many, and we call it resellers of electricity. So an entity purchases electricity from the municipality, and through that they supply electricity to the consumers. So, I mean, we've discussed what we can do against the municipalities, but we haven't discussed what the effect of a private institution coming and doing the same thing. Fortunately for us, most of the bylaws have a condition that all resellers of electricity must supply service and a tariff that are not less favorable than those provided by the municipality. And where the bylaws do not specifically refer to that, there is authority to say that any reseller of electricity is not allowed to give service, sell electricity on terms less favorable than the municipalities. So this means everything we've said above repeats. So the reseller just steps into the shoes of the municipality, and therefore you have exactly the same rights and obligations as if you were serviced under a municipality.
Okay. Well, that's nice. That's nice to know. So it's the same. Okay. Merilynn,
Yes.
This has been very, very insightful. Thank you so much. Great topic. I think a lot of people, especially in the cities, have this problem, and now you've kind of
Yes.
provided a solution for them. Thank you so much. How do we get in touch with you?
So we have a very well informed LinkedIn page. We have social media, or anyone can contact us through www.hahnlaw.co.za.
And that's Merilynn du Plessis, Associate Attorney at Hahn and Hahn Attorneys. So thank you so much for your time, and it was great talking to you again, Merilynn.
Same here, Jan. Thank you so much.
Are you or your business in trouble and struggling to find a solution? Call Hahn and Hahn Attorneys as we assist clients in finding solutions. We specialize in consumer and food law, commercial and construction law, forensic investigations, and administrative law. Visit hahnlaw.co.za. That's HAHN. We assist clients nationwide. Hahn and Hahn Attorneys, because we care. Don't miss Legal Talk with Hahn and Hahn Attorneys, Wednesday mornings at 10 on eRadio.